Okay, guys. I don't know if they wrote it on the program, but this is a workshop, not exactly a lecture. And that's because I feel that all of us have what to say about time management. And also for a secret reason, I'm a consultant, as you heard. I don't like giving lectures. I like discussing things with people. So I'm actually glad that we're a small group, and we can work more intensely, a growing group. So we can work more intensely about our personal challenges vis-a-vis general ideas or recipes, as you mentioned. Okay? So as was mentioned, I've been trying to help many managers on different managerial levels for many years around issues that have to do with time management. Hi. We have a special chair waiting for you. Okay, as long as you can all see the... Okay, and what I've learned is that recipes don't do the work, okay? Especially when we're talking about time management. And that tricks, and there are many tricks and how do I say, many skills that you can learn, but they don't do the central, they don't make the change, okay? So what I'm going to try to do is work with you about how we perceive the issue of time management, okay? And what the main trick or the main idea of tackling this issue, and try not to go into the little mini skills and so on, even though it's really tempting. But I'll leave time at the end if we'll want to go to specific areas so we can also speak about them. Okay? So what I'd like to start with, really staccato, you know, like in music, really shortly and quickly, to hear from each and every one of you 2 sentences about why you're sitting here. Okay? Why do you want to hear something about time management? And try to be as specific as you can, so I can try to give it some sort of reply. First of all, name.
My name is Micha.
Micha, hi.
Hi. Here probably because I think that's one of, I think the word procrastination, which became popular when I was trying to write my dissertation, was made up by me. It wasn't so popular always, was it? Or was I not aware of the word?
The word procrastination?
Procrastination.
Very popular.
Now I'm talking about 10 years ago. No, 8 years ago.
Okay.
Okay. Now it's popular. I thought I made it up. But yeah, I think being more efficient with my time will probably be the one thing that will move me forward in life.
Okay. And what do you do today at work? Are you?
I teach in academia. I'm not efficient enough with my time to be writing in academia, but I also work for a nonprofit that builds communities, Jewish Arab shared communities and schools.
Okay. Thanks.
I'm Ariel, an intern here at ROI, and I'm mostly a student, and I also have a problem with procrastination. For example, I'm presenting a paper next week, which I haven't written yet, so I would really like to learn how to avoid that. Yeah, I like procrastinating, manage my time a little better so that I usually like the adrenaline of, having about 2 days to finish the paper, but sort of raising the stress level quicker isn't so healthy, so I'm trying to work on that.
Okay, so we have 2 votes for procrastination.
Yes.
My name is Emma. I'm from the U.S. I work for a Jewish nonprofit and manage a fundraising database. And I'm here because this issue of time management and procrastination is something that I'm always working with my mentor on. And I'm learning a lot, but I'm never, there's there's so much more to go and more to learn. So I'm just very, very interested to.
Okay, thanks.
My name's Amanda. I work for a Jewish not-for-profit in Sydney, Australia. We're kind of a communal fundraiser for 22 member organisations, Jewish day schools, museum, hospital, welfare organisations. And I run everything that's not fundraising. So I help figure out how we allocate our funds, do strategic planning, run our research teams, run like an internal consulting group that works with our organizations to help do things more efficiently, more effectively. That's ironic. But I find, and I have a very small team, and I find most of my days taken up putting out fires, being on the phone, answering urgent emails, mentoring my team, and then not actually pushing our agenda forward.
So we'll be talking about you a lot today.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Martin. I'm a sales manager. I'm working in the field of MICE, meetings, incentives, and I have to travel a lot. And besides my job, I have my foundation, and this is actually what I'm really willing to do. So time management for me is very important because during the nights till the morning until I go to my work to get some money, I have time to do my foundation stuff. So time is really important for me.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Agustin from Uruguay. My job, everyday job is I develop wind power projects. Actually, I'm building 2 wind power projects in Uruguay. In order we sell the electricity to the government, to the utility company. And well, I started this tiny company with another partner. We are a small group of engineers and different type of engineers. I'm not an engineer, but I manage. I lead the group, and well, I also I help in the board of Hillel. I'm the board of Hillel in Uruguay. I help in the fundraising, and I have an activity called HBC, Hillel Business Club, that we invite entrepreneurs, businessmen to inspire the kids. Well, you can call 18-year-old kids or 30-year-old kids.
Something specific you'd like to get from this meeting?
What I want to get is happens something similar to you. I like my job. I wake up very early in the morning. I run, and then I continue running, working all day long. And by the end, I really have some problems dealing with my time, like always in the phone, emails. And I want to take time also to my family, my friends, my Hillel. You know, I think that time is more pressured right now than money, or like time. You can tell that time is money. Time is like, in Spanish we say like gold, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because and I want to manage much better my time and my group that I lead.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Stephanie. I'm from San Francisco. I run a small startup in San Francisco. My team has grown to 5 and will soon be doubling. The reason for me being here is kind of, in the past I've always really valued my own productivity and have traditionally had very great time management. I'm good at cutting what I don't need to do and always making sure I'm moving forward. But I think the way that you think about your time and what you're doing is very different, managing a team being productive versus being productive myself, and that's the thing I'm still adjusting to and trying to figure out, and we'll need to figure out even more as we grow.
Thank you.
My name is Jordan Fruckman. I'm the Chief Program Officer at an organization called Micha House. We do programs for young adults.
I've heard of Moshe's Movers. I haven't heard of Moshe's House.
That's an affiliate. No, I don't know what that is. Yeah, I think my biggest thing is that, you know, because I'm in California, but we're an international organization, so I'm like literally like in the worst place possible. So like when I wake up, you know, like my inbox already has all these emails from like everyone who's way ahead of me in time, and so and then also in addition to that, I think it's like that the idea that you can be on your phone or anywhere there's an internet connection, you're constantly available or getting emails, like the stress that comes along with that growing inbox, or like that kind of concept of like when does work start and stop, that kind of thing.
Okay, we're definitely not going to solve the time zone.
Why not?
We'll leave this room, we still have time zones,
So
but we'll
maybe we
speak
can talk
about
later.
Oh,
emails and
We should
yes.
program everybody to the same place.
If you move to Australia, you'll be ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
One day
Okay.
ahead, right?
My name is
Safe
Noah
bet.
Rubinsky. I'm from New York. I've actually heard of both Ocean and Ocean House.
Okay.
I'm here because I'm a member of the Natan Fund, and so I'm kind of just getting exposure to this great community that's been built. For me, my day job is I'm an investor, and so there's just a lot that comes along with being more of a long-term strategic investor in companies. And I've recently come in touch with a growing interest in Jewish philanthropy, and so as I balance, there's a lot of efficiency that I need to bring to my day, just in terms of my regular wage job, and now that I'm trying to find the time to be more focused on kind of my passion, or what's coming to become more of a passion for me. It's a difficult balance to find, and I think particularly, like you mentioned, about also professionally and personally trying to find the leverage in terms of thinking about no longer being the person doing everything, but how to be more effectively kind of managing processes, along with being more in the weeds on some of the smaller kind of startup-y philanthropy efforts. There's a lot of, just various types of demands on time and how to be more efficient.
So you want 28 hours a day, right?
With at least
Okay.
6 hours of sleep.
Alex.
My name is Alex, I'm from Buenos Aires. I'm the director of Chile, Argentina. Also, I manage two different organizations for youngs also. And I have like days also like 28 hours. And if one day I don't answer emails, bye-bye, I don't have to sleep like all the night. So I want to, I think to organize my time better, or to find tips about that.
So do you have your cell phone connected now?
Yes.
And you're answering the emails in the pocket? Okay. I've met people like that. Yes.
So I'm David from Earth. I'm a researcher in artificial intelligence, making patents in academic science. So hard research job. And by the way, I am the leader of a non-profit organization called Jewish Salsa, as a volunteer there, combining salsa and Jewish culture with Latin culture, and doing a lot of events. And also I'm an artist, a musician. I have my different band and I play piano. So there is the work for the band, to organize everything for the band, and there is what is maybe take more time, is the inspiration. So I need to be light without any noise, and so this is different kind of activities. And I think I will marry soon, so I want to keep this activity and have my wife.
But it sounds like you can give this session because you do so many things.
His day has
Okay.
36
I
hours.
want, the problem is why I'm here, you ask me, is that I can do two things. I want to be a multitasking guy, like a girl. It is known that a girl can do different things. and you were writing about emails, and that's okay.
Okay, I'm not sure you're going to be happy from this meeting because basically we're going to be going the other way. Okay? Of multitasking.
Focusing on
'Cause-
just one stuff.
Right. So let's start. And I hear that people have different needs here, okay, and different focusing. But we'll try to go through the main needs people have here. Oh, I see somebody worked on my presentation. So I hope they left the same slides. Okay, that's interesting. I sent it yesterday to make sure nobody works on it. And they still did. Okay. Yeah, they're very efficient. Okay, so we're basically talking about how we manage our time. Okay, and most of the definitions concentrate on tools. Okay, as I said before. So most people, they concentrate on tools. They think time management is a bunch of tools, And we're going to be talking about processes, okay? More about processes than about tools. About the concept of time management and how basically we can control it in a better way, okay, to achieve more, okay? It doesn't just happen. We have to be there running it, managing it. Time management doesn't happen. And the funny thing about time is that it goes on, you know, it moves. It doesn't wait for us, okay? And it's the one thing we don't have unlimited access to, okay? We have a limited amount of time, and we have to deal with it. And the earlier we wake up in life, the more we'll be able to make use of this thing. Okay, basically, many of you described this issue of juggling, okay? We have to juggle many things, modern life. Most of us have more than one job, okay? We have like this formal job where we make money. We have another job that we decided we want to do, volunteering or whatever, okay? We have families, we have social life, all of this, and we have to juggle all of this. And this is one challenge that we will try to address in our meeting. But the second challenge that I will try to focus on is how we juggle inside of each of these spaces, okay? Especially the job, okay? Work at workplace. What do we do in order to maximize our effectiveness, okay, in the job? And on purpose, I'm saying effectiveness and not efficiency, okay? Because what we want to maximize is our success, not our being efficient. And there's a very big difference that many people don't tend to separate between these two things. Okay, so time management, basically, we have many advantages if we run our time correctly. So it helps us achieve more at work or any place else, allows us to be better prepared. It decreases anxiety. I think this is very important. Okay, some of you mentioned this, but quietly. When we don't run our time correctly, so we find that we become more anxious. Some of us even can't sleep at night, and so on and so forth. It helps us assign time to tasks in proportion to their importance. Okay, we'll talk about prioritizing. And it helps you balance things in life, and of course become more productive and successful. So you mentioned most of these things, so I'm running ahead because I don't like the slide part. So many of us feel all kinds of signs that mean we're not managing our time correctly, okay? And some of you mentioned these signs, okay? It can be we hand in things late, or at the last minute, or we hand things on time, but they're not on the standard that we would like them to be. We forget commitments. Sometimes we don't have time to complete things. We make excuses, okay? We're busy making excuses. We have to let go of activities that we enjoy, okay? Like leisure time or whatever, because we don't have enough time. We have to ask bosses for extensions or our clients for extensions. Okay, more time, I need more time. And of course, we aren't evaluated on the level that we think we should be. Okay, we get a lower evaluation, and many times it's because we're not running our time correctly. Okay, so just one short quotation about this. I don't even know who Rendell is, but I found this in one of the presentations, and it sounds correct to me. Pity the overworked executive. Behind his paperwork ramparts, he struggles bravely with a seemingly superhuman load of responsibilities, burdened with impossible assignments, beset by constant emergencies. He never has a chance to get organized. And now the important sentence. Pity him, but recognize him for the dangerous liability that he is. Okay? So we as managers have to stop pitying ourselves if we're managers. And of course, your manager has to stop looking at this as something we have to pity, but we have to deal with it. We have to try to understand it's a liability for ourselves and for the organization. Okay, one or two more, and then we start really working. Why don't we use time effectively? We don't like planning. Why put in time into planning, okay? I don't think we have, yeah, we have Israelis there. So in Israel, like planning is like, no, I'm Israeli, you know, I can do things on the spot. I don't need to plan. So I don't know how it is in each and every one of your countries, but basically people think that planning isn't part of the work. It's before the work. And planning is an important part of work. We'll discuss this. It adds more structure, okay? We have enough structure at work, so if we want now to deal with our time correctly, so we even have to structure it even more. We don't want that. We want to be able to flow, right? Or go with the flow. Forces you to look at what needs to be completed. It can be overwhelming, okay? Now that I start organizing myself, that can kill you. It's not fun. Time management is not fun, most of it. That's fun. Okay? And you're lazy, okay? Many of us are lazy. Now, we don't think we're lazy, because the stuff that we like, we really put a lot of effort into, and we're considered very diligent workers.
Couldn't we just say we love relaxing?
Huh?
Can I just say I love relaxing?
Love relaxing. Okay, that's West Coast?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so basically we have many reasons, right, not to manage our time. And now I want to tell you a story that some of you have heard, okay, about this old Chinese professor. Have you heard the story of the Jar of Life?
The rocks.
Yeah? Okay, so we'll go through it shortly.
No, I don't know it.
Quickly.
It's a good one. It's worth
Okay, I'm going to tell the story, but quickly, okay? Basically, it's a story about this old Chinese professor who was called to speak in front of 15 top senior managers in the United States, okay, in Harvard. And he came to the lecture, and he stood behind this table, okay, and he started his lecture by taking out an empty jar and putting it on the table, okay, and then he took out from under the table a few large stones, and he put them into the jar, easily, okay? And he asked these managers, is the jar full? And what did they say? Yes, the jar is full. And he said to them, no, you're mistaken.
Full of air between the rocks.
He leaned underneath the table, took out a sack of pebbles, and he poured easily these pebbles into the jar until it was up to the top. And the pebbles trickled down between the stones up to the top of the jar. And he asked them again, is the jar full? And now some of the smart ones, okay, the quick ones, they said, not completely sure of themselves, they said, no. And he said, you're right, it's not full. And he leaned down and brought out a small sack of sand. And he poured the sand into the pebbles and stones and filled the jar up to the top. And he asked them again, is the jar full? Now this time, they all shouted out very loudly, the jar is not full. And he took out a pitcher of water and poured it into the sand until the jar was full. And this story is a very nice story. But then he asked them, what is the conclusion from this story? What have we learned from this story? So what do you say? Because I find many people remember the story, but they don't remember what it means. Okay? Let's see.
This makes me think of prioritization. There are the big things that need to come first, and then
Right.
there's the other things that you build in around those things.
Okay, exactly. That's where we take this story. Okay? Bingo. First one.
But you can have another, I'm sorry, another conclusion that you can, if you watch your day and you can see, you can imagine the day as a jar, and you say, okay, it's already complete. I don't have time to do anything else.
Right.
And then actually, you can figure out that you have a little bit of space and more space in your day. I don't know. I figured that.
So that you can squeeze in more, right?
You can.
That's what
squeeze it.
those managers said at the first time. Okay? But let's hear some more about that.
Well, I also think about it in the converse way too, that like if you started with the sand or the water instead, then you wouldn't have room for the bigger rocks.
Right.
And then, like, and I think, you know, I learned this in, you know, my own life too. It's like, if you spend time on all the little things, you know, sometimes the more important stuff, you know, like, you keep pushing that off instead.
And the big things is the stuff that you should focus on, and then start feeling it like the dressing of the
Right. So basically, this is what Emma said the first time. The order of things, the order we plan things, okay? What do we consider first is very, very important in time management, okay? Now, we can have the same list of to-dos, okay? Same list. But if we don't have the right order, so we're going to fail, because if we put in the water and the sand and the pebbles, those rocks or big stones are not going to be in the jar, okay? And we know this happens to us in life, right? We find many days, we look back and we say, what did I do all day? You know, I mean, I ran around, I answered 50 phone calls, I wrote 150 emails, I had 30 meetings, or I don't know what, and in the end, I didn't really push ahead what I strategically want to push, okay? The important things for me in my job, or the important things for me in my life, okay? So basically, that's the first thing I would like us to concentrate on, okay? And I would like you all to try to take 5 minutes of your time, or even less. This is the base of time management, period. Okay? Now, you don't each have to do it to the end, but try a bit to take things that are more, you know, easy, that you know, and try to single out 3 large stones in your life, okay? 3 things you want to achieve in the next 3 to 5 years. Just try to write them down. It doesn't have to be exact, it's just for the exercise, okay? 3 things or 2 things that you want to achieve in the next few years in life. Okay, we heard someone say, I don't remember, they want to get married, okay?
But that takes you a lot of time.
Does it have to be goals, or can it be priorities?
Priorities of what?
I guess I think about my time in terms of what are the 3 most important things to me now, rather than goals.
But why are they important? What do you want to achieve in them?
Well, I want success in all 3 areas.
You want?
Okay, I'll do goals.
This is exactly what we're trying to ask. We're trying to ask, what is success for me? When I look 5 years back, what will be, I was successful in these 5 years. I achieved my goals. What are my goals? Now, once you've written these 3 goals, please write a few things that you've done to enhance reaching to them. And what is delaying reaching these goals in the way you're running yourself or managing yourself, okay? And all this is in the top side of the page, the top half of the page.
The 3 large stones are like job.
It could be from your job, but it could be at home. Okay, you want to teach your child to speak. I don't know. You want to.
I don't have children.
They'll
Okay.
learn anyway.
Sorry.
They'll learn anyway.
Like for me, I want to lose 10 pounds, okay, or 20 pounds. That's, if I do that in the next 5 years, I'll be very happy.
Ten things you have done, or 10 things you should do?
10 things, or a few things that you've done,
Have done.
and on the other side, things that maybe you haven't done, things that are delaying you reaching these goals. Okay? Who feels that she wants to share with us one goal or something of what you've written here? Anyone?
First one I have is to define personal success for myself.
So the goal is to define the personal success.
Yeah. So and to strive to be successful. So to understand, first I kind of come to, for me, a realization. I feel there's a lot of people, at least in my community, which I would say professional community, define success purely professionally or financially. And I think that recognizing that there's a
That's
personal
very
success
American,
beyond
right?
very American.
Very American.
So recognizing personal success and then figuring out what that means and striving to achieve.
Okay. And what, for example, have you done? What's on your list on the right side? Have you done to enhance achieving this goal?
Yeah. Well,
Just
first
one or
was,
two things.
Yeah, recognizing that for me, being my Jewish identity is very much part of who I am. And
Okay.
for example, being here now, and the way I got here was just through that recognition, and then also trying to network to try to get in touch with people to broaden my perspective, so as to be able to.
So this is part of
see
trying to
different models.
achieve this, your priorities or your goals, yes? And what is delayed your achieving this goal? Because we might come to you and say, what are you waiting for? Just decide, you know? What's delayed? What's on your left side of the list?
Well, what's delayed it until now has been very much a prioritization, an exclusive prioritization on my job.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Come on, let's just a bit. You don't have to give everything you wrote.
So I've got two things. The first is to find kind of a new role, a new career in I guess a role that's meaningful, rewarding and impactful in the world. And the second thing is kind of a better work-life balance in terms of being a better parent, having time for my kids, having space, mental space for my kids, and then also just trying to live a healthier life.
Okay, let's take the first goal. Or no, let's take the second one if you don't mind. Okay?
Yeah.
Mind. And let's see, what have you done to enhance it? And what is delaying reaching that goal?
The one thing I have done to enhance it is we've just hired a live-in nanny to help take some of the pressure off, like trying to have to do everything at home and everything at work. So I do feel good about that.
But I'm not sure that's enhancing reaching your goal.
No, it just frees up some
What did
time.
you define as your goal?
The second goal was having a better work-life balance and space, mental space.
Okay. A better balance doesn't necessarily mean, maybe you want the balance to be more, that you spend more time with your kids.
Yeah, no, it is, but it's time, quality time with my kids as
Right,
opposed to
I see. Okay,
the
sorry.
cooking, the cleaning.
Okay,
the
so you got a
bathing,
nanny, yes.
You know.
That's one thing you
Yeah.
did.
What else have I done to have better work-life balance? Yeah, that's about it.
And what is delaying? Why haven't you reached that goal by now? What's delaying?
Because I just don't know. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get out of work earlier. I probably need to improve my parenting skills as well. Like, you know, there's all these questions about whether you're raising a good child, whether you're teaching them the right lessons, whether, you know, your own frustrations you bring home, and that's not the kind of example you want to give your kids. You want to be this font of wisdom, and not this kind of stressed out parent.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
You first.
No, go ahead.
And what is delaying reaching my stones?
First, what is the stone? One stone,
the-
give us.
I have the 3 stones. Is finishing the construction of these wind farms, and I want to do another stuff, like in a tech startup with a friend of mine. And the third one that is very interesting and very nice is like having a positive impact in my Jewish community. That is the toughest one.
So let's take that one, the third one. What have you done to move it forward, to enhance it?
I want to just do a brief answer. The other ones, what the delay of the first 2, it's like it's not in my hands. You know, it's.
Excuses.
No. They're not excuses. If you know the bureaucracy of the public, because I'm dealing with the government, you know. No, you're not. But the third one is the toughest one.
Let's deal with it.
Yeah, is what's delaying. I really don't know. That's why we are figuring out how to have a positive impact, how to engage more people in the Jewish community. We're having a very strong assimilation, and kids, and not only kids, many people from our Jewish community are living in Uruguay. They come to Israel, they go to Panama. I don't know if it's happened the same thing in Argentina. So in some way, I don't know. That's why I don't know that.
So that's where you are right now.
That's fine. That's one of the things we're discussing in the board in Hillel. We are reinventing in some way Hillel, how it behaves and how it presents, how it engages people.
So, do you want to shortly tell us your example?
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's important.
let's move on, and let's just give a minute's thought to the fact that what we did right now is completely not trivial. Okay, it's very hard work. Okay, to define my goals, to look at myself in the mirror and say, what have I done to reach these goals, and what is delaying reaching these goals, okay, or endangering my not reaching them in the next 5 years. Okay? Now, this is a very, very important thing, and look, I didn't ask you about something like on the side, I asked you about your life. And we don't always do this. We don't stop and just do it and say, wait a minute, this is my goal, but I'm busy going to work. Okay? So work-life balance, yeah, Amanda? We all have this challenge, and we're all there, and we know that there are things that pull us, very strong forces that are pulling us towards different directions than what we put, than these goals that we put, okay? It's like, I'll say something cosmic, it's as if the world's job, or the environment's job, is to prevent us from reaching our goals. I'm being a bit harsh, but okay? And we have to be very strong at realizing these goals and sticking to them. Is this something that you can identify with?
Yeah.
Okay? The day-to-day is there to ruin our...
Do we really have to live in constant struggle? That's what I'm not...
No. I don't think so. But I think if we're unaware, if we don't do this every once in a while, what we just did, so time management means nothing.
Well, can I ask to that point, so isn't there also something to be said for being present enough and cognizant enough to be nimble, to be able to alter your goals? As something may happen and you may say, hey, these are my 3 priorities sitting here in June of 2013. I'm going down the path where in 5 years from now I'm hoping to achieve these 3 goals in this way, in these ways. But in 6 months from now, something comes my way and all of a sudden,
sure,
you have to reprioritize.
Sure, all I'm saying is if we don't have goals, like Alice in Wonderland, if you don't know where you're going, you won't get there.
Yeah, but I think you said that we don't have to struggle. In my opinion, I think that every day you must struggle to go. You must have a long-term goal, but then in order to get to that long-term goal, you have tiny or small goals like.
That's right. It's a challenge, but immediate. But I think the word struggle, I read more to the suffering part.
It's very strong. Yeah, not struggle. It's just a journey, and you have to enjoy it because that goal it's nice, and obviously the journey is not always beautiful, and in Spanish we say roses, beautiful.
Right.
But I guess it's good to have clarity as to where the journey needs to take you. So I guess.
And not only that,
it's
also
that
what
is
is delaying it? What is delaying it? Why am I not going there? What am I doing wrong? Okay. So now, please, if you can, just for 1 minute, look at the bottom part of the page, and try to write 1 or 2, at least, things that you can do. Okay. And now, when I say the goals, okay. What actions can I do in order to change my being delayed? How can I change my behavior in order to reach these goals better or in a higher chance that I'll reach them. This is the hardest part.
Because I really think I have clear my goals, but maybe I don't have really clear.
Okay.
I'm not sure how to do it.
What?
I'm not sure how, what is doing you reach. So it means what I have to do, and now.
No, this is what you want. Where do you want to get? What do you want to achieve? And what is bothering you to achieve it? Okay? So now I want you to write down one or two things you want to do in order to tackle, to oppose these things that are delaying. Okay?
How to solve
What
this
could change in the way you behave or in the way the things that you handle to make it a higher chance that you'll reach your goals? I mean, it sounds like a very simple thing, but it isn't. Okay? So let's assume that I see everybody's writing, so we're all writing one or two things, right? And let's try to move ahead, okay? And try to do the same thing really shortly now about work. Okay, this is the same paper. It just, instead of in life, I wrote at work, okay? So now take the same thing and let's try to see what goals we have at work. Each take one. At least one goal, right, for the exercise, because we don't have a lot of time, but write down at least one or two goals that you have at work for the next 3-5 years. Not goals for next week, right? Really big stones, strategic goals. This should be a bit easier than the one for life. For some of you, it will be a bit harder, but just write down one or two. Okay, let's see, the people who feel that they have already one goal and can say a word or two about it, let's hear. Okay, let's have a French goal.
Good. One is to make tour with all my band, musical tour to different festivals, and the other one is to make to have employee, to have not only volunteer in my non-profit organization, and to have a place for us to go to dance.
Okay, so what have you done to enhance this, and what is delaying that happening?
I have asked a lot of money in charity people.
Can you repeat? I just like.
I have tried to ask money to organizations in Paris, but they don't want because it's not neither religious, neither political, neither based focus on Israel, so they don't want. Started to go abroad. I was invited to different conferences to play music or to dance, but yes, Jewish, let's say Jewish young conference. I'm in Hawaii now, and I have made for the other goal. I have made an album. I finished my album now.
Okay, what is delaying achieving this goal?
For other experiments, I did not manage to find people. I know that they answered me here that I need to find a guy in France that can fundraise me. So that's what I have to do.
So maybe what's delaying it is that you aren't professional enough in fundraising?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you've been spending a lot of time doing that?
Not as a professional, but yes, doing artistic activities
Yeah.
to try to show
Okay.
it's wonderful.
Okay, so you've been spending a lot of time trying to fundraise, to raise funds, and what you realize now is that you need an expert.
Maybe.
Okay, what else is delaying?
I need to I need to continue this, but outside from Europe, because maybe this is not the people in Europe are not interested, but fundraise that kind of stuff. So to do the same, but in USA, I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's hear one more. It's your turn this time.
Okay, so one of my big goals at work is to build my team and network. So, I'm building a business, and I firmly believe that it's the people that I hire and the people I surround myself with that are going to make sure, even if my plan changes, if I have an amazing team of people, are going to get there.
Right.
And yeah, I definitely, things that have delayed me in reaching my goal, is that the next question?
Yeah.
Is that I really haven't gone all in on hiring and recruiting, and I feel like there's always this constant struggle between wanting to do things myself to make sure my product is moving forward versus taking the time off to really focus on putting that off to focus on bringing in people for the long term good.
So basically you're dealing more with the tasks than you would want to deal with the recruitment, right? In the balance. You're dealing with the tasks or with the missions of the company, organization, and that's the sacrifice that you have. That you're not building the team, right?
When really that should be that's going to help more in the mission.
Okay. Okay, so I think we got the idea, right? Okay, we have the idea. So let's move ahead a bit with this, okay? So basically, where does this take us? It takes us to the issue of prioritization, okay? And prioritization, I would like to present to you a very well-known, okay, matrix or pattern. And basically, it discusses the issues of urgency and importance in our tasks, okay? So for example, the task that you have now, that you put as your goal, you understand that it's very important, and maybe it's not urgent, okay? So that kind of task is here, okay? It's important and it's not urgent. But you find yourself dealing with what kind of tasks?
Me personally?
You said you're not dealing with the building the team or whatever, but you're dealing with certain tasks, other tasks, which are what? Are they important? Are they urgent? What are they?
I feel like building the team is important and urgent,
Yes.
and I'm focusing on important and not urgent.
Oh, really?
That's in my personal.
That's very interesting. So, I thought it was the other way around. So you feel you're dealing with things that are here?
No.
That are here?
Yes.
And you're not dealing with these?
Yes.
That's very interesting. But this is not your goal that you have. You're saying both of them are as important. They're important the same. But building the team is less urgent.
And it's more urgent.
It's more urgent.
Yeah.
That's a very weird situation. Usually I hear the opposite things from managers. What?
Right?
Yeah, I understand.
So how are you working? If it's urgent and you're working without it.
Right. No, so I think what she's saying is like, it's really, really important. Urgent means that like you can't not do
Have to
it.
do it now as opposed to tomorrow.
Oh, have to do
Right,
it.
like
I
you can't
should.
not do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's
that's
the
what happened to you now is what happens to everyone all the time.
Okay.
We mix up
Yeah.
between urgent and important. We use the words different in different understandings, interchangeably, yes. And this is a big, big danger for managers and for people generally, okay? And what happens to most people is what happened to you, okay? This is what we really want to be dealing with, right? This is where we want to be. If we're good managers, 70% of our time is here in important and not urgent things. We have to build a team, we sit down, we plan, we'll discuss all this in a few minutes, and we deal with it before it's the last minute, okay? We deal with it sensibly and rationally, and we have a timetable, schedule, and everything, okay?
Are you going to talk specifically about tools to be able to get to that point?
Some tools, but as I said in the beginning, I believe that the tools are not the important thing, okay? But we'll discuss some of them if you want, okay? We'll get there. So what I'm trying to say is, most of us as managers, remind me the name, I can't see. Stephanie, we're all like Stephanie, okay? We think that we're dealing with the important and non-urgent things, but we're not really, because if we look at the pages we just filled in, how much time, I'll ask you from 1 to 10, give yourself a grade, from 1 to 10, of the amount of time that you're giving, let's say, in this month, not including this week, okay, at your work, to the big stones that you just wrote. How much of your time? just 1 to 10. Let's say 1 is I give no time, and 10 is I give all my time. Let's say in percentage, okay, from 1 to 100. What percent of your time do you really deal directly with these big stones that you wrote right now in your work?
I think
7, not bad, yeah.
Like speaking percentage-wise, like 10 to 20, but it creates like 70% of the anxiety that I experience. Like, because I know it's the important but not urgent stuff that I know is going to become urgent in the future.
So, okay. So you're doing 20%. That's what you give yourself now.
Less.
So you're not dealing with it. Of course you have a lot of stress and anxiety. Yes, Amanda?
I'm just thinking a bit about another question. Like, I feel like in a lot of ways, I'm rewarded in my job for focusing on the urgent, important things.
This.
Yeah, because that's where people see my productivity. That's where things get accomplished in the short term.
You know
we
this?
produce.
Yeah.
We produce.
In Hebrew, we have a saying, taktikan.
Yeah.
Okay, he's the doer.
And
operational.
Yeah, to focus on the important, not urgent stuff. You know, then people say, well, why haven't you produced this? Where is this? Yes. You know, what's happening? I can't say because I was, sitting and planning and thinking about other things.
Okay.
So that's just kind of what I'm.
Give yourself a grade from 1 to 100. What percent?
Probably 70-30 the other way.
The other way. So 30% you're dealing with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we can continue. Of course, each give to yourself. Yeah.
Just have a comment.
Yeah.
So I feel like my grade would be like 95.
95 what? Percent?
Yeah.
That's what you are now?
Yes. But my comment was going to be that we have 3 stones, right? So I'm 95 across all 3.
Right.
When I feel like the problem, because what I am focusing on is still one of my 3 stones, but the problem is that sometimes.
Okay, so either you're one of the most talented people in the world, or you're just wrong. What you're saying. You're just wrong, okay? And I think you're wrong, not because I don't think you're talented. I've never ever met someone who doesn't have to deal with the basics of life, Even not only these 2, with the non-important, we have to deal with the non-important sometimes. At least 10, 20%. 95% you deal with this quadrant, this part.
Well, I guess it also.
You never have things that are not important and you're dealing with them. Everybody has to deal with stuff at work, right? Almost everybody. So what I'm saying is, well, I wish I had such a life, 95%. I don't know, you have a great life. Okay? So let's just look. Now, what happens is that everybody at work, like I said before at life, everybody's job at work, at your workplace, is to prevent you from achieving your goals. Especially your boss.
Exactly.
Now it sounds like I'm being a bit cynical, right? But think of it. You have your goals that might even be goals that really your boss identifies with them. But all they're busy doing is bothering you from achieving these goals. They're piling stuff onto you that comes from these 3 places. What?
You're going to start a revolution.
No, I'm saying, seriously, what's urgent? So go do the urgent thing. What are you busy with all those stones you have from Micha, What are you came back from this conference? You're crazy. What do you think you should deal now with things that aren't urgent? The earth is burning, okay?
Deadlines. Got deadlines.
Exactly.
Got to produce.
So basically, everything and everyone around us, their job is to put noise into our life, noise that is from these 3 things. Okay? That's what happens. Unless they're very unique people. Like Stephanie. Okay? Now this is something we have to realize in time management. That we're not only fighting our own urge that we spoke about before, right? We're lazy, we're this, we're that, all these things. We're also fighting against everyone, basically. We're not really fighting, but we're challenged with all these pressures that come from all the area to deal with this. Now, it's clear to you what happens? What is the psychological state of each of these four kinds of people or managers? Okay? So if we look at the results of each quarter, so we see what happens, okay? If we're dealing with not important and not urgent things a lot in our life, in our work, so basically we lose interest. And you know, we feel we're dealing with stuff that, you know, we don't understand why we're coming to work. We lose commitment, okay? We become dependable because we're only dealing with not important stuff, okay? Now, if we're dealing with urgent stuff that is not important, we're focused on the short term, okay? We're basically doing crisis management. I think I have a mistake here. How do I write many crises?
Your crises.
Crises. Another E?
No,
No, that's correct.
That's true, okay. And of course, we think that planning is meaningless because I'm always dealing with fires and they're not important fires, and it's like, why should I plan? You know, it's useless. Okay, my life is always running. And if we deal with the urgent, important things, we're also doing crisis management. We're always turning off fires. We're firefighters, okay? And we have a lot of stress, lots of stress, because we're always running around, like you said, to turn on these fires, to extinguish the fires. But if we deal with the important and not urgent stuff, okay? So we're doing things on time, we're doing things before the time, we're thinking.
You will have less
so
fire.
we're realizing our vision. What?
You will have less fire.
Less fires
In the
because
future.
we've planned ahead. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, we all understand this. The question is, how do we get there? Okay, because we're stuck in today. We want to be in that beautiful Disneyland where everything is, you know, everyone's smiling and we're doing stuff a lot of time ahead, but we have all this urgent stuff. So basically, this is a move that takes a few months. It doesn't happen in one day because we have to take, basically, it's like the backlog, okay, that we have to take and deal with it somehow in order to move ahead. Okay? Okay, so this is basically why we need to set priorities. And my thoughts of this issue is that most of us aren't adamant at prioritizing. Most of us don't give it enough time of the day to do this prioritization, and we don't really stick with our priorities. Okay? Now, we have to do it monthly or yearly, monthly or quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily. We have to always be busy prioritizing. Now, of course, we're doing it because in the end we decide to do something, right? So when I decide to do something and not to do something else, I'm prioritizing. So I'm doing it all the time. But we're doing it in a maybe not enough of a conscious way that is sticking to our goals. Okay. A lot of it, Stephanie, happens because a lot of stuff we say is important is actually not important. It's urgent. Yes?
Do you mind if because I had a comment. So I feel like about 2 years ago when I started at my job, I was like dealing with all the crises like all the time, kind of thing, like everything was urgent emergency, and like really spent a lot of time trying to focus on how you can try to predict problems that are going to come up, or try to like anticipate
Right.
problems. And so started like thinking about things in 3 different boxes. So like a crisis would be a red flag, and then like where I really like to live is in the yellow flag area.
Better
And-
green.
What?
Better green.
Well, green needs green needs like people, you know, cheerleading and things like that. Like
okay.
that's green's
Okay.
nice, but I love the yellow flag area because that's
We
where
see on your shirt.
Yeah, that's right. Not related. But like in the working with, you know, all the staff and all, and all the stuff that I'm working on, like if I can really spend a lot of time, like I focus the majority of my time on the yellow flags, the things that like are could be going well but like need a little bit of attention. And I'm finding that like focusing our time in the yellow area area before it gets to red has really almost eliminated the red area. So that when the red stuff comes up, the urgent things come up, it's like, okay, I can definitely make an hour to solve that.
This is exactly the move I'm speaking about, okay? It's thinking ahead and trying to say, okay, if I want to get there, putting into your diary, if to be very practical, the big stones, okay? And not enabling to move them. I mean, they can move from Sunday to Monday. But if they're there, they can't be delayed now in 2 months because this is what I need to do now, and this is the most important thing in my diary. And if I give it a color, like you said, in the diary even, I say in a red or yellow or whatever, and then I know these are the blocks I'm not allowed to move. No matter what happened. Because if I don't deal with them, I will be unhappy in 5 years or in 3 years. I have to get there. And the fires can keep on burning. I have to turn some of them out because they're important fires. Some of them I have to extinguish. But some of them I can leave burning. And I'm telling you that one of the things that managers have failed to do many times is to understand that they can't do everything. Is to understand that there are things that can be neglected, that they can be not done. One of the ways, if you have who to delegate to, is to delegate. Very important in time management. But I'm saying, even if you can't delegate, I'm taking it one step forward. Leave it that way. It's not important. It's okay. It's okay.
See what happens if you don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, what's the price? Now, everything has to be measured. You know, some of us will be able to translate it to money. I'm pointing at you, I'm not sure. But, you know, some of us are able to translate every task into money, into its meaning, in economical meaning, okay, financial meaning. But some of us, it's enough if we do it even without that calculation. Okay? We know what is more important than the other if we have our stones, our big stones, and our middle stones, and our gravel. Okay?
But isn't that, I mean, some of what I agree personally, there's like an absolute truth to importance and urgency and all of that, but I think some of that's a little bit of a high-class problem where, for example, if you're starting a whole bunch of different initiatives and you don't have, you know, the luxury of being a manager because you're wearing every single hat in the organization, you're trying to figure out, you have a mission, you're trying to achieve it, but, you know, like you say, there's so many, you've only got so many fingers to plug so many dikes in the boat that come up along the way, and so you don't have the luxury. Yes, everything you do has to be important, but you can't even get to the quadrant of not urgent because everything's urgent, so you have the luxury of one day having things that are not urgent, you know, versus being later on.
Let's hear some people on this.
Yeah, I totally feel what you're saying, and I get it, but I think that's like a huge dilemma that startups get into, and that they think everything is urgent, but the reality is you have to focus on one thing that's going to give you a result that will lead to the next thing that will give you a result. So like, there's probably we don't have to use it as an example. No, like, you're doing a lot of stuff, but like, right? So there's a lot that we can do that are nice things to do that we actually don't have to do that might not actually even get us. They're like nice things. Like it would be amazing if 1 million people, you know, listened to your album, but like, what if you got 10 people who like loved your album and like that's a result that can actually get. That's a stupid example, but like what I'm trying to say is that a lot of times when we're doing startups, we're thinking about all the things that can be done instead of like the thing that should be done to get the result that you need to move to the next step.
Because we're not adamant at defining exactly the result and sticking to it. Because we put into this result, everything belongs. Okay? I'll give you a very stupid example. Okay? We have emails. You want practical things, right? 90% of the people feel they're obligatory, especially in big organizations. Okay? But also if you're by yourself, for example. Yeah? So you feel you have to answer emails immediately. Because we have cell phones, and we hear them, and we want to answer them. Okay? Now I see people who come to my workshops or whatever, or at work, and they're always answering emails. Their head isn't clear. It's never clear. Okay, so this is an example of okay, now are these emails urgent? Are emails a general urgent? No.
You know what?
90% of the
I
emails.
answer an email and I say, okay, I'll answer it later or tomorrow.
Or don't answer at all.
I really,
Who says you have to answer right now? I'm just saying, okay, so there's this one email that has to be answered and whatever. Usually it will be an SMS and not an email, or someone will come and say to you, okay? Won't send you
no,
an email.
because Uruguay, in my case, many times like they send you an email and if you don't answer it fast, they call you. So I don't
Right.
really receive calls. I receive the email, I read it. When I have time, I'll answer it. You know.
Yes, but they're expecting that from you. Now what that is doing to you is it's enabling you from, it's preventing you from working.
Can I also add, like,
Yeah.
so I think a lot of time we spend our times responding to these emails or whatever, these
Or
kind of
telephones, yeah.
menial tasks that are gratifying because it's a very quick thing that you can solve.
And I feel efficient.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, did that, checked that flag off. Because also, on the flip side, it's really hard to identify the not urgent and important, and it's hard, it's like, goes back to our topic, our introduction about procrastination. It's hard to really, we procrastinate because we don't know where to begin. So like answering these emails and doing these little tasks
And
is really gratifying.
Exactly, so we're fleeing from
Yeah.
what we're procrastinating
Right.
from, which is usually the important and not urgent, okay? That's what it usually is, that's that core. Is these important things that are huge and need a lot of thinking, and maybe we need to speak to some genius to figure them out, or we need 2 weeks to brew on them or whatever, or to contemplate on them. But usually we're running to all these not important things or urgent things because we're really good at it. And it makes you feel that you came home, you dealt with 55 different things, and wow, I'm really great. But you know something? You didn't move your stones 1 inch. So the big trick is, okay? Huh?
This whole conversation is stressing me out.
Okay. So I'm saying there are very easy solutions.
I want to say something.
Excuse me, they're not easy solutions. There are very simple solutions, okay, that are not easy. But they require some sort of self-discipline. For example, stop being your phone's slave. Okay? Stop, no phones, no emails. You have designated time to answer emails. For example, it's just one of 50 different skills that you can. Don't answer them. Now, people will slowly get used to the fact that you're so important, or you're so committed to your stones, it doesn't matter what they think, that they'll send you an email and you will reply only in the evening or the next day. And if they really want something very urgent, they'll call you, or they'll come physically and speak to you, you know, or they'll leave you a message or whatever. Okay. Now, most of us don't deal from this. What I heard before, most of you don't deal with saving lives. So people won't die if you don't answer them in the next 10 minutes. Nothing will happen. You know, we really all think, we tend to think, that what we're doing is really, really important. Okay? But we think because it's important, it's also urgent. It's really important, but it's not urgent.
I think there's another element as well, and maybe this is reflecting an insecurity of mine. I almost feel like when people that you either want to impress or important people are requesting things of you, you want
your
to
boss,
produce
for example.
your boss or
Yeah.
influential people that you're dealing with, or people that are funding big programs or whatever it is.
Right.
You kind of you want to address their concerns, even if they're not important. You want to address them quickly. You want them to feel like you're being, you know, you're on top of things, and wow,
Right.
fantastic that you got to that so quickly. That was great, even though they're not the most important things, you know. And when people have your name and you're just getting bombarded by these things, and you just kind of feel like you need to satisfy people so they know
So
you're being
you're
responsive.
encouraging them to expect it more and more from you because you're really good at it.
You're trying to be responsive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if you're the secretary of the office, maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe those are your large stones. But if you're not, okay, so you have other large stones and you have to respect them, to respect yourself, okay, and to go in that direction. Okay? So let's take it one step further. Okay, so basically what we're saying is the urgent and important handle personally. You have to do it, and you have to do it all the time. You can't say, ooh, big no.
This is urgent.
That's because I just said turn off your phone.
Don't be a slave.
Okay. Sorry. So, get that off the tape. Now, now, you don't say, I'll handle it personally next month. You have every month, these stones are in your journal, in your diary, okay? Now, not urgent and important. Either handle personally or delegate very carefully. Be careful who you give it to and how you explain how they do it because it's important. Okay? But the not important things, if they're urgent, delegate them to somebody who will handle them. Because if this fire won't be extinguished, nothing happened. It's not important. Okay? Now you're right, if it's this important donor of $10 million or I don't know what, so maybe it's important. But there are the exemptions, okay, the exceptions. And not urgent and not important, ignore or postpone. Now, this is very hard for people to do. This is the quarter that you want to disappear. You have to make it disappear. Okay? And I know people that have 60-70% of their time in this quarter. Managers too. Okay? So that's the first hard thing to do. Now, let's speak of 3-4 things that are a bit more concrete. First of all, use a calendar. You all do, of course. And what? No? Okay. We have to use a calendar today. I mean, we answer emails, so I mean that's.
I don't ask you.
What?
I don't ask you to have a calendar. It's easier without. Because the things which are more important, if you there is a reminder to do this without a calendar.
That's very interesting. Okay. You're a unique person. I don't know. You have to use a calendar.
But do you have reminders? For example, I don't know, meeting at 3:30 in, no say, Gare de Lyon.
You can't plan if you don't have a calendar. Let's
It's
just
amazing.
go on,
I'm
okay?
impressed. How
We
do
have
you-
like
how
very
do you
few
do it?
minutes.
People think different.
I'm sorry, but we
No,
have very few minutes, and I want to just push
Okay.
a bit ahead,
I'm
okay?
impressed.
Assuming you have a calendar, it's very important to sit ahead and plan and slice your big stones into stages, okay? And put them there, stick them in there. Put the big stones in the jar. This is the first thing. And you know something? We don't do this. Or we do it like this, okay? We put them in there, and the first thing that happens, we push them out. And I'm saying, no, they have to have a special color and be in there, okay? And that's over here. Divide large projects into sections, and of course, okay. So that's the long-term planning, which this is an assumption, okay? First, now the second thing is, I put in procrastination here in the long-term planning, okay? So of course, we procrastinate a lot, right? All of us. Some of us in certain things, and some of us in other things. But there are things that we don't understand, or we're afraid to fail in, okay? Or they're too big, the size of the task, or they're complex, or I don't know, we have to deal with someone difficult, or whatever. Everyone has different reasons for procrastinating, okay? But we all understand that procrastination is causing us a huge, huge, huge problem, okay? And it causes us anxiety. It causes us poorer quality of work. It causes us less achieved, okay, because we're rushed. It causes a sense of disappointment from ourselves. So we're always in this guilt trip, procrastinating. Basically what we've done is killed time. Okay? It's like it's death of time. And one of the basic things that I think to deal with procrastinating is what I said before, is slicing up the big projects. Okay? It's just making it simple. Sitting there, taking an hour, taking two, taking a week even, planning it. okay, slicing it up, saying this has to happen first, and then just doing it. Now, what can we still squeeze in? A weekly schedule, of course. I want to get to tracking your time. Believe me, if there's one thing you can do is look behind 1 week, 2 weeks, write down what you've done, divide it into those four quarts that we saw, okay? The matrix. And it'll shock you. Do it. Okay? We don't have time to do it now, but do it. And once you do it, you'll see where your time consumers are. Okay? And let's discuss a bit of the time consumers in the 2 minutes we have. We of course run daily to-do lists, but I want to talk about meetings. Meetings is a disaster.
Yeah.
It's a disease. Big organizations are really terminally ill with this. Smaller organizations less, but people tend to have meetings when they're not needed. So if I have 2 tips to say to you is, A, don't set meetings if you can do it in another way.
Just a Skype conversation and that's it.
Right. And don't go to meetings that you were summoned to or that you were invited to if you can, if you're not completely the center of the meeting. Okay, just decide, I'm not going to 20 meetings a week, I'm going to 5 meetings a week. And really try to get there. Now, it's embarrassing sometimes. People invite you and you want to go, and it's tempting also because, that's where things happen. Well, I have news for you. Things really happen before meetings and after meetings. That's where the real important things happen. Now, we have some meetings that are essential, but most of the meetings, if you can cut them off your timetable, you'll have air. You need air to think, okay? I'll say something that maybe will shock you, but I wanted to show you here a movie of Jason Fried from the TED. It'll be on the site, so you can watch it. But basically, in a very funny way, it describes how when people need to think, where do they go?
The bathroom.
When you need to, the bathroom, when you need to think, where do you go?
For a run.
Huh? For a run, when you need to think, where do you go?
Just go for a walk.
Go for a walk?
Up to the
Excuse
mountain.
me, I'm asking the question not correctly. Or I'm saying, where do you go? It could be also, when do you want to think?
In the
When would
shower.
you like?
In the shower.
Yeah.
When, where,
I
how?
think a lot in the shower.
Yeah.
What
In
do
the
people
shower,
answer?
I
People
go
answer in the
Check the
train,
time.
in the job, in the
Yeah.
evening,
I love
early in the morning. Basically what they're answering is, in the office they can't think.
Yeah.
Is it correct?
Yeah. Too much noise.
For you it's not correct, you're lucky.
No,
So-
it's different though, but as pedantic as this was, I schedule time to think.
Good. So the first thing is schedule time to think and do it in a place where nobody will bother you. Okay, now it doesn't matter if you're thinking by yourself or thinking with someone, you're having a dialogue with someone, but 90% of the time and 90% of the organizations, we're always having all these noises coming in that we described before. Okay? So we have to legitimize. I mean, what are we hired for? What are we being paid for? Or what do we pay ourselves for? Okay? For independent, okay, freelance or whatever. The main thing that we're getting a high salary for, or a higher salary than the basic one, is because of our ability to think and to move things forwards, okay? And we don't do that when we go to work. So basically what I'm trying to say is, legitimize these big stones also through putting big bulks of time to think, and that's a very important part of your job. I worked with a guy who was the IT manager of a big company. And IT is like, he always had to be giving answers to all the different problems. And I tried, and he was a manager, he had people under him, and I tried to get him to be 2 hours a week outside of the office and to sit and plan or think or whatever. And he wasn't able. He was just like, and I said, you'll never get anywhere. Okay, it's just impossible. So I'm saying meetings is a big problem, and interruptions is a big problem. Okay, so sometimes you don't have to be nice. You say, listen, I'm busy. Listen, I need this or that. I can't answer now. As we said before, you have time to read the emails. It's written in your journal at 5 o'clock. That's when you read them. And nobody will enter your space until then. Okay, unless it's really a big, big fire, that is very important. Milestones we spoke about.
I just want to say a thing. Like, I think we must be enough humble. Like we are not. I don't know the word in English. Imprescindible. No. Like the work will continue if we are not existing.
Surprise.
Like
humility.
Yeah, well, we must be enough humble.
Indispensable.
That's the word. The word. Yes.
It's true. Believe me, it's true. Now, this is the trick of managers. Sometimes you look at really high-ranking managers, and you'll see maybe afterwards, and we'll look at the presentation, you'll see at the bottom, I put some research about managers and time management. And basically, one of the things they've learned is, the noise, and I call it the noise, all this stuff, will fill in all the space that's empty. The more space that you leave empty, the more noise will fill your life. Okay? Now, each one has his own noise, but it's incredible. I mean, it just fills it up, and it fills more and more and more and more. And that's why I'm trying to say you have to block out the noise with big squares, okay, and big stones, and so on and so forth. Okay? We'll have to go to lunch, I guess.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.